2010 was the year of the All Black. With 13 wins from 14 matches, averaging more than 35 points a game, it's no surprise the #1 ranked side in the world are hot favourites for this year's Rugby World Cup. A magnificent year in which New Zealand regained the Tri-Nations and achieved a Grand Slam on their European tour. Little wonder then that the All Blacks dominated the awards scene as well. Alongside the accolade of the IRB Team of the Year, Captain Richie McCaw retained his title as Player of the Year, and Graham Henry won Coach of the Year for the 4th time in his illustrious career. So what were the highlights?
Both for South Africa, the first test in Auckland. We got well beaten by South Africa in 2009, and we didn't know where we were at against them, and we played very well at Eden Park here in Auckland. And that was very satisfying to know that we were back on track, so to speak. And then winning in Soweto at the football stadium, where it was the first rugby test, I think it was the first rugby test ever played there. 90,000 Springbok supporters and us. And we won the game in the last minute of the game, where Manonu broke the line and Israel Dag scored in the left corner. So that was a very special moment to win that particular game after being behind, and to win 3-0 against South Africa after getting beaten 3-0 last year. So there are two special moments. And I guess the Grand Slam was also very special as well. Not I guess, it was.
Fittingly, that Grand Slam came against Wales, the country that gave Henry his first taste of coaching at international level. But since then, he's had what is probably the most relentlessly demanding job in rugby coaching.
Oh, I think the benefit of coaching your own people, you know where they've come from, you know their background, you know how they've been brought up, and you can relate to that very easily because you know it like the back of your hand. But when you're coaching the Welsh or the British Lions, it's quite different. I'd love to have that time over again because you don't know anybody. And so you go in and you're completely outside your comfort zone, and you try and do a particular job and you try and do it well. And some of it I did okay, and some of it I didn't do as well as I should have done. And you think back on those times and you'd love to be able to turn the clock back and have another crack at it. But you learn from those things, and it was a great learning curve for me.
With 5 of the top 10 sides in the IRB World Rankings involved in the Six Nations, Henry still keeps an eye on events in the Northern Hemisphere. It's one thing being the #1 ranked side, it's another to stay there.
Watching the Heineken Cup, watching the Six Nations, seeing how the game's developing, seeing if there's any new ideas out there and sides are using something that appeals and it looks interesting. Also trying to think about other ways that you can play the game. But no, I think keeping a thumb on the pulse of the other big sides in the world is very important. So all the Six Nations teams will be a threat at Rugby World Cup, and very important to keep a very close eye on them.
The Rugby World Cup experience is nothing new for Henry, but a place in the semi-finals would be. In 1999 with Wales and 8 years later with the All Blacks, both Henry's sides fell at the quarter-final stages. It's been 24 years since New Zealand's sole success at the World Cup, and with the tournament taking place on home soil again this year, Henry is well aware of the burden he and his team carry.
It's about performing and the team performing and fulfilling the expectations of the New Zealand rugby public, I think, and that's right and proper. You know, there's a huge expectation out there. I think that's good for the team. I think they perform at a higher level because of that expectation. There's no hiding from that. And I think we just got to get excited about that. Like, we're playing at home in front of our own people. We should be very excited, and I'm sure the guys will be very excited about that opportunity coming to the Rugby World Cup next year.